Welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
We should sit in a moment of silence. No, a real moment of silence.
The ADHD, though.
No, it's not for anything. It's just for when I edit this, so I can hear nothing, no background noise.
No.
This
There will
is
always be a background noise because you'll hear the bouncing noise from the guitar sitting beside me, or something at least.
well. Hello, folks. Hopefully this week is treating you well. This is our first big boy test. We talked about it a little bit last week.
We had kind of a big boy one last time because we adjusted everything properly.
Well, true, but we also were both in the same place and using just my equipment. So now is the real big boy setup that, we finally got your recorder stuff settled, hopefully. So there's no white noise anymore. We figured that out. Mics are good. You got everything. We're all good, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, all week in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking, I'm not going to remember those setting changes. There's no way I'm going to. And you deleted that audio file explaining how to do it. And I guarantee it's not going to save, but it's saved. The only thing I had to think about was hitting play instead of record twice.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, honestly, if you really wanted to shell out the money for the exact recorder I have, great. But it's definitely, I don't know. I think it's still kind of significantly more than that.
Yeah, you said it was over like 200, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes on the used market you can find, a Zoom H6 relatively cheap. I was actually I got a good deal on mine. Not only did I get a good deal on mine, but it had like all the attachments with it too, which cost extra and so forth. So
yeah.
So I'm
if
sure
I had to adjust it every time, I probably would go ahead and do that because I'd know there'd be that one time we get caught up in something I completely forget. And everyone's like, why is the audio so terrible this week?
Yeah, I hear you. It's crazy. But yeah, we're just running on the fly, putting some duct tape here and there, and just we're flying by the seat of our pants. It's good stuff.
It's like that meme of the guy sitting in a room that's on fire drinking coffee. He's like, this is fine.
This is fine. It's working, sort of.
It's working-ish.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, on to some Star Wars, at least for about a minute when I tell you what we're going to talk about, and then we'll talk about other stuff. We have Bad Batch, Episode 8, Reunion, and then we have 2 comics to go through. We have Darth Vader 12 and Dr. Aphra 10, all a part of the prelude to the War of the Bounty Hunters. We're still crazy behind on comics.
I think we are up to date on Vader after this, though, correct?
Maybe. I just know...
Up to Bounty Hunter. I think Aphra is the only one we have left.
Well, I'm saying...
Sorry, not Aphra, but we have one more.
I'm just saying in totality. There's still a lot of total comics that we just really haven't caught up to current point. And what was out this week? I don't know. There were 2. We haven't done anything. Maybe we'll do a bigger recap one time of the smaller High Republic Adventures series, which is kind of like the kids comics. We might briefly go through that. That was this week, and then there was I want to say it was the next one in the Star Wars line. I'm pretty sure it was the next one in the main Star Wars line too that came out this week. So yeah, good stuff. The comics are really flowing. We will be having a book here before we know it. Another book, High Republic book. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're pretty content heavy for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, truthfully, with Bad Batch and the comics, we've got a good variety, but it's been super easy stuff. We've been coasting through a little bit with that. It takes no time to read these comics, so I'm sure once the book hits, we'll be putting a little more time into it. But
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, because of Bad Batch, we've kind of nixed kind of our rereads of stuff and whatnot. And to be honest with you, I
kind of hate it, kind of don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of fine with it for now. Obviously, there's some books that I think, would be really cool to etch in, but just with everything we've got, I think we're pretty much on track. And yeah, I don't know, man. I got to tell you, I just can't do a bad book right now. If I have a bad book, I might go insane, and because I have been reading a bad book this week.
So this would be a bad time to do more Alphabet Squadron.
Well. Yeah, so I do some episodes over on These Are the Voyages, and we've been trying, we have a recording this weekend to talk about a Discovery, the series Discovery tie-in book, and it's rough. It's rough, man. It is rough trying to get through that book.
Yeah. One of these days, I'll actually get into Star Trek, and we'll have a discussion video about it. It's just the older I get, the more I feel like it's too much. It's almost like Doctor Who to me. It's like, it's too much content. Probably for a lot of people who aren't into Star Wars, it'd feel the same way, I'm sure.
I mean, I suppose, and there are several different series of, Star Trek, and the books. I'm not gonna I wouldn't press any Star Wars or Star Trek books on anyone necessarily. I think that some are fine, some are whatever. I will say there is kind of a weird trend in quite a few new Trek books of adding in a lot of cursing, which is odd because we don't really have that much, if at all, in Star Wars books, and partially because it's very Disney and kid centric.
Well, we're getting more fake cursing, I feel like.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah, fake made up space words for sure, but it sometimes is really blatant, and I just it went from the obligatory one S word per book, and then it winds up being like a couple of F-bombs, and it was I find that to be a little strange because I don't know. Sometimes a little colorful metaphors are sometimes kind of fun. Put a little point of emphasis on it. Like, I'm an adult. Bleep, bleep, bleep. But, at the same time.
But almost sometimes it feels like, hey, I'm doing this just to prove that I'm an adult.
Yeah. Sometimes.
It's also kind of weird, all the movies and TV shows. I'm sure it's like that with Star Trek, too. It's like you don't get all that cussing, and then you do in the books. It's just kind of jarring.
Yeah. It is. But at any rate, that's an entirely different universe. So anyway,
most people listening probably don't even accept.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think
our wars.
I think it crosses over. The thing is Trek and Star Wars are different in the point where Star Trek explains a lot more, and Star Wars
just shouldn't explain more.
Well, it's not that. It's just it's more mysticism than science.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a science to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why they shouldn't explain more. Like they've been trying to, I feel like lately, and they just shouldn't.
Maybe, but yeah, I mean the thing with a lightsaber, right? So there have been a lot of YouTube videos nowadays with people building real lightsabers. But what they wind up being is basically just big torches or something like that. And it's like, well, that's cool, but you run into the same problem. You run into the same problem that the flamethrower guys from World War II ran into when they shot the tank on the back and it exploded. Right. It's like the same. It's the same. You have a big tank. It's like, I've got a sword. Ping.
Right.
so.
Well, and plus, I mean, with the delay involved in that, as far as like cutting in through anything or like, like the obligatory, I'm going to stab the center of this door and twist the lightsaber until it opens.
Yeah.
That would take like a million times longer with that.
Yeah. So, but again, there is a suspension of belief that has to happen with Star Wars more so than Trek. And there was a bonus episode this week I recorded with Chase because Chase had finished his first watch through of Clone Wars. Never watched it before, so he finally finished the entire series, and we talked about it. And I mean, sometimes he'd ask questions. It's like you just got to go with it. Like you just got to go with it. There's no science. There's no explanation. You just roll.
How much of Star Wars did he already know before that?
Oh no, I mean he's reasonably well versed in Star Wars. He movies and some books and so forth, but. Yeah, I just never really watched the series, which is okay. I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't watched the series. I think he's now watching Rebels, so that's the next thing up.
I feel like it's probably easier for people to go from Star Wars to Trek, honestly. Because I feel like most people I talk to are just into Trek, just wouldn't be able to, like you said, suspension of belief. You'd want to overanalyze things a bit because that's what you're used to with your show. So,
yeah, I don't know. They are certainly two very different universes that explain things in two very different ways. Heck, and
that's why I didn't get why it was such a fight, because they're really not the same thing.
Well, everybody fights about everything. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a nerd or a jock or a politician or some regular person just in middle America. Everybody wants to fight about something, whether it's your favorite. My sports team beats your sports team. Go sports. It's the same. It's the same reason why you get so much like nationalistic pride with the Olympics when nobody cares about any Olympic sport throughout the year. But as soon as the Olympics are on, all the old people, because no one young really watches it. Just kidding. I'm sure some do. Which is actually kind of interesting because I think the only Olympic stuff that I ever have really watched with any regularity is some of the swimming, like the relay, like the actual doing all the swimming stuff. Or, I mean, really, I don't really know. I don't really know what else I've watched. I don't really watch the Olympics.
I don't know the last time I watched the Olympics, but I know it was like pre-16, so probably 08, 12, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
But anyway, let's wrap that up. Going a little long. How was your week, man?
No, not really. Oh God, I thought we were gonna skip that. Yeah, we're going too long. It's okay. Week was normal. Back to work. No fun. How about you? I really have nothing to talk about, honestly.
No, it's fine. It was a little bit of a deceptively long week. So not
segueing into a super short weekend.
Yeah, that's kind of true. It wasn't horrible or anything. It was just it just felt a lot longer than what it had any business being. So no biggie, but just long.
Right.
So all right, man. What do you want to do first?
That is the shortest "How was your week" session we've ever had. I'm not going to expound on that much because I don't want to take up more time, but I'm proud of myself. Are you?
No, I'm not proud.
We're not egotistical this week.
Yeah. No, but so what do you want to do? Do you want to do Bad Batch first? Or you want to do the comics first?
Oh, I was kind of thinking we'd actually save best for last and do comics first this time.
Okay. I was actually thinking the same thing because, like, we always do comics last. I think we always do comics last. So
we do.
We'd
it's
switch
always
it up.
Bad Batch first.
Yeah, let's go through that. You want to do Aphra and then Vader?
That's what I'm holding.
Okay.
This is weird.
So yeah, we've got Aphra 10 and Vader 12. Again, these are the part of the prelude to the War of the Bounty Hunters. So the 4 comic series that we have out today, Aphra, Vader, Bounty Hunters, and then the main Star Wars line are all converging for this short arc towards the
Hopefully.
kind of capture
Hopefully
of...
short.
Well, that's what it says, at least. But towards the capture of Han Solo and what will happen with that. I don't know what you have in the entrance or in the very first page of your comic book, but I have a pretty sweet Lego X-Wing getting shot at by a Lego TIE Fighter.
Yeah, got the same one.
It's pretty sick, man.
Makes you want to spend like $100 really easily, don't you?
Why not?
The Lego X-Wings are so much better than when we were growing up.
It does look really
Honestly.
cool. Yeah, it does look really cool. I don't actually think I ever had a Lego X-Wing.
I didn't either because they sucked, and I never was interested in them. Like Lego Star Wars was not good back then.
I mean, some of it was. I mean, I had Anakin's pod racer and the Naboo fighter. Those were pretty cool.
Oh, really? Oh, I know you talk about the fighter, but I don't... Were you a kid when you got there, or like a teenager?
Yeah, I was a kid.
Okay.
Those would have been episode 1, so like 99. So
Yeah.
All right. So Dr. Aphra, we kind of left off with the whole Nihil drive that doesn't work, but
The Path Engine.
yeah, that we had, kind of a a literal hold up here on Midar. And this the Gray Fox pirate lady here with whatever. It looks like Gray Fox, like from Skyrim.
Yeah.
That mask. And that she's just shooting people like, finish your work, pew, finish your work, not fast enough, pew, And I don't know if I've really noticed it in this series, but like the art style in some of this just looks really, really thrown together.
Aphra's not that great in this one, I'm not going to lie, like throughout the entire comic.
Well, they seem to have a lot of disagreement with what she actually looks like.
Yeah.
Like it's like they haven't really settled on her face, because even I don't have the other covers here, but like the cover faces are usually what's going to be, really thought out, and
that's your character,
But even that changes, and then when you look in the comic, it even changes more. Like, and I get it, there's some artistic license here, but I feel like it would be really cool if they figured it out. Like, what does she look like, period? Like, give her a face.
Right.
Like, Luke Skywalker has a face. Han Solo has a face. Princess Leia has a face. And I think Sana has largely stayed the same, Sana Staros. But, like, Aphra just seems to morph so much in between comics and series. I don't really get that. Maybe some other comic folks can explain that to us, like why that happens so much. But I'm not just talking about in the comic and against the cover, but I'm talking about like the covers. Even the covers seem to look different.
Well, in this comic, I mean, I'm not going to try to be super negative, but it seemed a little lazy on the art side. Like even Lucky, for the most part, looks nothing like Lucky. It's just everybody's a little meh. Almost like they were rushing this one a bit.
Yeah, but I will say that, like, in the beginning, this comic was not bad. It was actually one that we didn't really mind. It was kind of a cool sort of story. This one is a little bit, it's okay. It feels more like a transition between storylines, which is, what it is, really. But Aphra, kind of in classic Aphra fashion here, like crawls up on the stage, where this engine is, and our Gray Fox still blasting people, and Aphra's like, yeah, I'll fix it. I'll kill you last. Oh, that's not much incentive. Well, I'll kill this person right now. And cool. And what's up with these stormtroopers? Like, the stormtroopers are like doing nothing?
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that, because like in the beginning they're just all kind of like standing outside.
Like they have to be told what's going on. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean they're just like guarding the place. Like, we're not going in. don't like get around, and then they're like, oh yeah, hey, help us. I can't right now. We'll do it later.
I don't hear you.
Yeah, and then we have anime Lucky and anime. What was his partner's name here? They don't have it in the front of the cover. I always forget this guy's name.
Ariole. Arioli.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that really his name? Like, that doesn't sound familiar from whatever. I don't really care. Kind of
Yeah,
seems
the
like
opening
a bit
one,
of
the first one with Lucky on the Canto Bite one.
Yeah, no, I see it there. It's
They
just
have
like
his
that.
name.
It just doesn't sound.
It doesn't seem right, does it?
It doesn't sound familiar. Yeah, kind of anime Goku guy with wild hair and this like Kingdom Hearts blue jacket.
Accurate.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, is Lucky interesting? Have we asked this before?
We've asked this before, and up until this point, my answer has been the same. No.
Well, I mean,
He's not.
in the beginning, he kind of did the double cross that nobody expected. So, okay, kind of interesting. He's got a gambling brother who can't stop gambling, I guess. Like,
yeah. And he's not going to try and stop him. He's not going to pull him away. He's just going to keep paying for it.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. I'll just work forever so that you can just gamble.
In kind of a weird way. I mean, it's kind of... This is going to be a bit of a downer, but it's like trying to support a parent who's incapable of working, and like you just come home and they're just sitting around because they can't do anything. But like you actually have the option to stop it and get on with your life, and you don't.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, Aphra, they're beating up guys. They're just beating up people, thinking it's a trap.
Arioli doesn't really have a weapon either.
Dude, I don't want to call him that.
Or what?
I'm going to call him Star Wars Goku.
I kind of do.
I
kind of want to call him Arioli now.
I'm sure it's more like Ariole or something like that, Ariole or something.
Either way is a little too close.
You know what? I do feel like that's right, because I'm pretty sure that I talked about somebody at work over in Manila who's connected to our company, and his last name is Ariola, which is a Filipino thing apparently, which is also a nipple. But anyway,
I didn't notice it the first read through. He's got these little like spiked knuckle things.
Yeah.
So he's full melee,
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be terrible in this universe, but okay.
He likes to
go that monk route.
Throw on the
go the monk route. Be that monk from World of Warcraft. Go ahead, do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So Aphra's fixing the engine. The stormtroopers finally come in, and there's shoe sting. And then Aphra takes a green ball. And she also says, "Cark it."
Yeah. Man, you're summarizing this really well, but it's kind of sad how easy it is to summarize.
What to do. Cark it. What? Cark it? Okay, that's not even clever.
Well, like it kind of goes back to the whole talk about cussing. It's like, but it doesn't even make sense.
Well, yeah, it doesn't make
any fake words don't make sense to me.
Well, you have to have a word that has like the same first letter. Like if you said flarbit, I could get that.
Yeah.
You flarber. I don't know. I mean, that might be offensive to somebody. I'm not sure, but it sounds offensive. So there you go. Anyway, after she takes out the little green orb, the engine blows up. Of course, she lives, I guess, and Sana saves her, sort of.
It's not a guess. She does. I read it to the end.
I mean, kind of. And then I guess Sana mildly shoots Gray Fox in the eye, but not really. So that's something.
I don't know. It kind of looks like a burn, almost more than a shot. It's weird.
I think this person's name is Vukora. Is that how I would say that? Vukora? Vukora? Vukora?
Vukora, something like that.
I'm going to call her Gray Fox. Anyway. So then we go back to our sort of benefactor here. We really don't read these in any sort of real sequence, and I always forget their names. What was it? Domina was her name, right? Lady Domina.
Find it.
Pretty sure that's what it was. Maybe. Let me just get ahead here a little bit because I feel like we're gonna see it. Whatever. I think it's Lady Domina. Yeah, that's it. Which, I thought of that worm on Corellia, which is Lady Proxima. It's like, oh, the backstory. Oh, no, wait, that's not the right name. So anyway, in my stupor as I was reading this the first time. But anyway, Aphra tells her that she did destroy the engine. So she puts Sana in one of those airless bubbles and chokes her a little bit. And then Aphra gives her the little green
data chip crystal thing.
Yeah, glowing radioactive data thing. And so, yeah.
That your computers wouldn't be able to read because it's something from like 400 years ago, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, and they even say at the
Suspension
end,
of disbelief, right?
Well, she also says at the end, it's like, well, it's not going to help her at all because it's junk. I mean, it's junk tech. Right. There's nothing there. So there you go. Then Domina gives her another job.
Which they kind of seem to blow off in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, Eben Drake. Arms smuggling ring. And it's a cousin. So, yeah, cool. So, figure out what the cousin's up to, and then, don't mess it up, bro.
And then we have a convergence coming.
Yeah, kind of, but we also have this whole deal where there's we've got a mole in our midst, Lady Domina. Here, have some tea. I'll drink this tea with you. I might have killed
4 of them already, but there's more.
I might have killed a guy.
Why is there one sitting beside me?
I might have killed someone. Oh, well.
I didn't use the tea, though. Don't worry. The tea is not poisoned.
Yes, good times. And then we see Sana and Aphra, dealing with some ropes, which is fun. They're just breaking ropes with their bare hands. Pretty strong.
Sure.
And yes, and then the convergence you're talking about, we have this sort of dual page where Lucky and Areola and Aphra and Sana, they're all two of them are happy and 2 of them are sad and we're going in the same direction. And then we have at the very bottom one of our bounty hunters here just literally V-R-R-R-R-R. He's just whirring through space.
Reality. It'd be funnier if he was the one actually making the noise and not a ship.
When I first saw that, I was vroom, vroom, I'm driving through space. Vroom.
Yeah, you got just the dialogue. It's Lucky's I can't wait to get there. Aphra's man, this is going to be a big score. Bounty hunter. Vrr.
It was so stupid looking. I'm sorry. It looks... Well, at least it gave a good laugh. I will give it that. It gave me a good laugh. So there you go. So, again, this is all heading towards our convergence in our true first issue of the War of the Bounty Hunters. Let's move on to Vader, or as I like to call it, let's just piss on canon. Is that too harsh? Do I need to bleep that for the kids?
Well, honestly, there's something I'd like to call it that we would definitely have to bleep for the kids, but B-word Vader. We'll just call it that.
Yeah, so this Vader's, and I feel like we talked about this last time we talked Vader, but this Vader series started so promising with a crazy interesting prompt.
Yeah, and then none of it mattered. None of it mattered.
It doesn't matter at all right now. I mean, it could. let's give it some credit. It could later, maybe.
But like so far, I just feel like from listening and reading the Padme series, it's literally like, hey, you know how that was cool? Here's 5 minutes of it. F you. Let's get on to something else.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that because, again, seeing the Handmaidens, that whole story was just, it felt really, really good. And now we're dealing with stuff that the Exegol stuff, I think we both agree was garbage. I didn't like that at all.
Total trash. But we're not getting better here.
Well, yeah, and now, I mean, kind of like a quick summary, it's like we're now adding all, we are overwriting. And I've said this before, I don't like overwrites of existing history. It's like, well, but it's not like breaking canon. No, but you're overriding
it's
it. Like
adjusting it in a way that isn't, I mean,
it's not useful. You're overdubbing something, but not in a funny way. So it doesn't make much sense.
I mean, let's just go ahead and kind of break down what we don't like about it before we read it. Because
let's go through it like we do. Let's go through the plot, and then we'll break it down as we go, obviously. So anyway, Vader is back with our now blind, I guess, bounty hunter that I don't really care about. I don't care about this guy. Do you?
Rochi, is it?
Yeah. Do you care about him at all?
Yeah. No.
I mean, he seemed kind of cool. Well,
it took me a minute to remember who he was.
I did too. I had
just
to think
going
about
a week or two without reading it. It's like, who is this guy?
Yeah, it did. It took me a second too. But anyway, Vader's back. They're on Coruscant, and they're basically rebuilding Vader again.
And by the way, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's nitpicky for art, but like, are you at this page yet?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Where you got Palpatine doing just that weird little, like, I'm going to bite my lower lip.
He looks like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it's just super creepy.
Yeah, he has no lips. Yes, he's giving you a meh. Don't worry about it, my friends. Meh. Yeah.
I had lips, and then that Jedi
disfigured
me.
I will say, however, the art in this does seem a little bit...
It's so good.
It's better.
Honestly.
It's better, though. Because, like, even a few panels above, the Palpatine face is looking pretty good. They're toying a little bit with Mas Amedda, but, no worries there.
But Vader is very good. Even the robots are really good in this, actually.
For sure. So, instead of just, like, decoupling parts, they're using saws for some reason. Which doesn't make much medical sense, but whatever.
And Vader decides not to shut down, which I'm not going to talk about much, but I don't like. It just sounds so stupid. Like, he's not a robot.
Well, yeah, he's not a robot. You could put him out, but you can't shut him down.
He still feels things. Yeah, he still feels things.
Yes. So anyway, he's kind of going through this sort of split reality stuff where... it's
almost like he's reliving what happened, but talking to his son in the process of it happening.
Yeah, I mean, there goes my hand. I'm gonna get a new hand, and look, my son got a new hand, and I remember when I almost shot him down, but his friends are like, "Yee-hoo!" and they saved him, and he can't do anything without his friends, and they're stupid. Then we get to a panel here, which I guess I don't really get this, and I kind of hope maybe you can connect some dots, because we're on Corellia again, and it's sometime later, and then we have Erodian coming down the walkway of his ship, which is that same YT freighter, and he kills him, and then we have Han Solo, and then he's like, "Oh no, you." Vader?
And then you have Luke and Han firing on him.
Well, but that's an old panel. It's in red, so that's like on the Death Star. So that's an old panel. But yes, that was my first thought too. I was like, wait, it's red. That's a flashback.
Yeah.
So what we're saying here is that Vader had an encounter on Corellia with Han and Chewie before Cloud City.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. It feels like overwriting again.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense.
It diminishes our iconic scene walking into that conference room. You've got Vader and Boba. Kind of takes away from that moment a bit for me personally. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper here. I'm fine with things changing to an extent, but they do a lot of this in this comic, and I don't like it.
Well, I mean, what would be the timing of this? Because we're past 5. The events of wait. So the events of this.
Well, we're not past 5 at this point.
Well, see, but that's
in this panel.
but see, that's deceiving though, because the beginning of this line started post 5, between 5 and 6, because we already had the events happen. We had the events of, capturing Han, cutting off Luke's hand. But
they also have the little interview. Oh,
hold on.
Too.
Sorry. Reverse that.
No,
reverse it. Flip it. I'm thinking about the main Star Wars line, not Vader. That's my bad. That's my bad. But so this is set. This is set pre-5, post 4. That's my bad. I was mixing up comic lines.
So, but where's the timeline go with this?
Well, that's what makes it super confusing.
If it's anywhere close to Cloud City, Han ain't going to Cloud City when he already dealt with Vader that soon after. Well, it's not going to happen. He's not going to trust him.
Well, that's what's confusing me a little bit here and there, because all these are supposed to converge, but the main Star Wars line is actually ahead in time, technically,
right.
And Vader is catching up. Aphra is catching up. They're catching up to that, I think.
And I don't even know where Bounty Hunter is, and I don't really care.
No, I don't care either. But my point is this encounter with Han seems premature. It just seems premature. It's at what point are we here that Han, he would be on Corellia? When would he have went to Corellia? What would he have needed to do on Corellia? And here's the other thing too.
At this point, between A New Hope and Empire, he's with the Rebellion.
Yeah.
Why would he have to go there? He's not doing side work.
Well, yeah, he would have been on Hoth.
He should be on Hoth right now.
I mean, that would have been my thought.
Or is it pre-Hoth? If it's pre-Hoth, it really gets messy.
It's kind of messing with me. But here's the other thing that I didn't really care for all that much, and it kind of feels a little bit more like Legends than it does canon, because they go to see the droid in the shipyard, and he's he identifies Solo, and the droid is like, yeah, local boy, actually, but you can't say he made good, just another scum rat turned smuggler. He can't have gotten far, should we? But here's the thing. He left Solo's canon. He left.
His records would be an Imperial pilot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, right. But I think it goes back to, yes, he was a local boy. Yes, I think it's still canon that his father worked in the shipyards. I'm pretty sure they said that in Solo when he and Lando had talked.
Did. Yes,
but he wasn't a Solo, so that name that name was given, not assumed. And now this droid just automatically has him in a record bank. And he's like, this local kid.
Technically, that record bank would have nothing to do with the Empire, and the Empire is when he was given the surname Solo. So what's going on?
But we do have to say that the Empire still would be in control of Corellia, though. So I mean, this would be potential. I don't know. I think there's a lot to that. There's a lot.
Probably one of those rabbit holes that's not worth going into, but at the same time, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the naming, the droid thing is not a huge point. It just seemed a little bit odd to me. The odder point,
the movie
is that
Solo messes with that to an extent. It does,
sort of, but
with the surname.
But my thing is just having Vader and having this very brief confrontation on Corellia. That's what's odd to me. But it was cool to see. Yeah. It was cool to see a shipyard of Millennium Falcons, though.
That was pretty cool, especially a warranty shipyard for repairs, and I thought that was cool. But
yeah.
Here's my problem.
Some of them have the escape pod, some of them don't.
Yeah.
That was cool.
None of them have all the additions of Solo's. They're
Well,
very stock.
well, if you look in here, like some of them even have like different dishes on them. Like some of them are round. The one in the front is square. They have different colorings and everything.
The coloring was pretty cool. I did appreciate that.
Yeah. So to be honest, I like that personally. I thought that was
sweet.
neat.
Yeah, Nerd Side flared up with that. But what I didn't like is, and this, it goes back to making Vader kind of a B word. We kind of get enough flashbacks to ensue that the reason he's going after Solo is pride. Solo shot him down, so now he wants to find him and get revenge. And does Vader really have time to get revenge off of some random pilot with some random junk?
Well, I mean,
vehicle. I mean, he doesn't have time for this.
But that's not how I took it personally. The way I took it was, he is trying to eliminate Luke's friends. Because he kind of says in here, you're basically nothing without your friends. I don't think it has anything to do. I mean, it could, but the way I read it, I don't think it has anything to do with Solo at all. It only has to do with his son and trying to eliminate his friends. That's all that I
guess maybe I'm just kind of reading into that because we get the flashback panel of him shooting him down and,
sure.
iconic
I could see. And that kind of is the interesting thing with comics and books. You can take multiple takeaways from it. But then I feel like it gets lazy again, and basically we just recount the events of 5 when Solo's captured. I mean, literally, it's just like
it's frame for frame.
Yeah. So
it's almost kind of a waste of a panel, to be honest.
I mean, it's cool, but then it's not. I mean, it's cool and then it's not. And then we have another thing that I don't particularly understand. We have this bounty hunter again, which you see his fried eyeballs. Is he getting like implants? I assume he's getting implants. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I would say so.
Cyber balls.
Either that or they're just itching his eyelids. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. It's kind of itchy in the socket. Can you just, kind of like, do something about that? So anyway, Palpatine's like, you've seen the secrets of the dark side. You know the way of the Sith. Decide for yourself. And then there's a lot of ahs and nyahs and me, my lords.
Anime stuff.
Yeah.
But we kind of get into this flashback panel after that is probably one of my least favorite. And maybe I'm reading into it differently than you would, so you go ahead and kind of talk about this first.
All right, so we're talking about like when Vader was like preparing to shoot Luke
Targeting Luke, yeah.
Let's see. Red bubbles, let's just do these. You could be strong, my son. I know there is power in you, but I have seen the true might and purpose of the Sith, and there is no room for another. So this time you will die. And so that, just quick opinion, that to me is a complete attempted retcon of Vader's motivation.
Exactly.
After 5 through 6. Okay.
That's my problem. Because Vader's motivation from 5 to 6 is to overthrow the Emperor, not to be his little lapdog. And the thought that between those movies, he's just dead set on killing his son because he's that in love with the idea of the Emperor and how powerful he is, ruins The Last Jedi a little bit for me. Return of the Jedi, I'm sorry.
Return of the Jedi, yeah.
It kind of ruins it a bit.
Sure. And our last little piece here, we have the bounty hunter, or what was his name again? Our no-eye guy.
Croce?
Sure, okay.
Rochi?
Going before a super hot buff Jabba.
And Jabba's throwing him to the Rancor. Come on.
Jabba's got abs now. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a little
sexy
creepy.
Slug. It's weird. He's got giant, muscular
keep going
arms.
with that retcon stuff. And that's not how Jabba sits either.
He
That's
has
not how Jabba sits.
he has abs. He has pecs and
He
abs.
does.
Like
He's
whoever
laying on
drew
his
this
back and
is,
he's got abs.
and we were complimenting the artwork.
Nobody else has abs.
Well,
Just him.
we were complimenting the artwork, but that is a crazy, terrible interpretation of Jabba the Hutt.
It's creepy.
Well, it's not just creepy, but they're giant slugs. They're sloth. They get bigger. They're not. I mean, they are powerful. Like they can move fast when prompted, and we've seen that before. But they are
part of their empire is the idea of I don't really want to do anything. I want to build this empire around me, so I get to relax, and everyone does everything, and I still make money. And that kind of defeats the purpose of that.
Right now. On top of that, we get that Solo was stolen. You mean Jabba lost him? Actually, you know what? Is this Jabba? I don't think this is. Is this Jabba at all?
Who else would it be? What other Hutt would there be?
I don't think it. You know what? To be honest with you, I don't think that this is Jabba. Now that I look at it, so here's what I'm saying. Solo was stolen. You mean?
Oh, actually, you know what? The way he says it.
I was just
he's talking to the HUD, and he says, "You mean Jabba lost him?" Yeah, I guess that's not Jabba.
So, well, obviously we see giant slug like this, and we kind of think Jabba, and he's got similar minions around him.
But it's still stupid that he's buff.
Well, but regardless, so the dialogue: Solo was stolen. You mean Jabba lost him? Jabba remains strong. He will recover him, and his power will increase. Oh, it actually has his name, Boku. Let me look this guy up.
Oh, that's who Boku is? Okay.
Yeah, I think we just misread the panels, which is fine. I mean, what? I don't know. That's not what I want. It took me to Japanese soap. Stop autocorrecting, you SOB.
That makes a little bit of sense because the panel right after No Boku made no sense to me because it was like, you will recover him and give him to me, and lucky you, your power will increase. That comment made no sense to me in the context of talking to Jabba. That makes sense now.
I actually don't think that. I think this might be an original attempt. Yeah, I don't think that this person is anybody. So I think that this is.
Oh, they don't even like tie him in like
no.
How
I think
related
they made
to Jabba.
They made this buff Hutt up.
Super intimidating.
So again,
Kinda terrifying. I'm not
dialogue here. You will recover him and give him to me, and lucky you, your power will increase. So strange, Ochi of Bestune. None of my regular Imperial contacts have spoke to me of this foolhardy plan. Are you certain that you serve the Emperor? I serve power, Boku, so today I serve Vader, as do you, and Vader pops up with his saber. This, again, and we apologize, folks. I mean, we miss stuff as much. So this is not Jabba. This is like another Hutt.
This one a bit, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's a buff Hutt, apparently, super buff Hutt, who I don't know if he's over Jabba or if he's, I mean, I don't really understand the Hutt, mafia there, but I don't really care. But regardless, we have Vader going to a Hutt, and now he wants Solo back so that he, and again, this is just my interpretation. I know you have yours too, but like for me, I think it's to like eliminate Luke's friends so he stands alone. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It makes
Vader never used those tactics to turn Luke to the dark side. He used his own connection with Luke, I felt like, in the movies. And I just don't see the point in this. And if he's going to go after him, why isn't he going after Chewie, R2, and Leia?
Well, maybe that'll be next for this. I don't get it. It doesn't make any real logical sense to me, and it feels like overwriting. It feels like retconning to me. It just doesn't feel right.
It is. I feel like it is 100% retcon, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But hey, at least in 5 days from now, we'll get to watch Vader tee off against an IG unit.
Sweet.
Because that's the next issue. Artwork is him deflecting blaster bolts from which IG was it?
Who cares?
Yeah,
No
true.
offense. Who cares?
I can't get 88 and 11 right to.
Yeah. It's
save my
probably a
life,
new
so.
one. We're making up buff huts and I don't know. It just, again, like these arcs are the reason why I feel like you are getting this sort of contingent of people who are just turning away from things. And here's the thing. We are not gatekeepers, but I will give my opinion on things. And if it feels wrong, it feels wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. It just feels wrong to me. But the way that this is going, it doesn't make any sense. And here's the thing. We know that Boba gets Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah,
And
so
no
why
one
is this
comes
such
after
a
him.
thrilling thing, you know?
Yeah, and no one comes after him aside from Luke, Leia, Chewie, Lando. That's what we know. We know that happened. So eventually Vader is going to stop this hunt. Why? Why does he stop the hunt?
Why does he start the hunt? We still don't even have a clear answer. We have our theories, of course, but like, why is it so important to him? And yeah. Again, I'm really trying here not to be a gatekeeper. But Star Wars is what it is because of the original trilogy. Everything came from that. So when you start messing with that just to serve your own low agenda and sell copies, I have an issue with that. There has to be, everything has to mesh. And it has for so many years. Yes, there's been a lot of things in Legends that kind of bring things into question. There's always misinterpretations of canon, but this is just so blatant. And from a company as big as Marvel, like, don't they do their research?
Well, here's the thing. These become canon. Unless
that's my problem.
Disney and Lucas and all those decide that they're not, but it basically...
When they already signed off that it is.
Yeah. And I mean, they could deny that as well. I mean, I don't think Horse Vader is... it's considered canon. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, from a storyline standpoint, like, okay, we kept talking about suspending disbelief. Let's suspend disbelief for a bit. Sure, Vader decided that he was going to take out Han Solo. Mm-hmm. What's the end game, though? The question at the end is, what is the end game? And then we still can't bypass the movie. And the fact is that Boba Fett does bring in Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt, and Jabba the Hutt is in possession, and there is no attack from anyone else aside from Luke coming in with his friends to rescue Han Solo. That's what happened.
And this wouldn't benefit Vader in any way for Jabba to get him. But he signs off on it in the movie.
Well, in the movie, he didn't care. There was no care about Han Solo. It's like, yeah, sure, take him. Get your bounty, right. Boba. I don't care about that. He cared about Luke. That's all he's cared about is Luke. So I can understand wanting to take out his friends to isolate him, to make him feel alone. But at the same token...
why would he freeze him in carbonite? Why wouldn't he just take the loss and the bounty and kill him?
Well, and again...
this story.
Yeah, but I think that's the point of Vader going to Exegol, because now he knows the true power of the Sith, and there can't be two... And see, here's the other thing, though. Now Vader is in the mind to kill Luke Skywalker. Not just take his friends away.
Which completely ruins Episode 6.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense, because in 6, he still wants Luke to join him. Not just to turn him, but join him, and then maybe we can overturn the Emperor.
But like at this point, Vader's mindset is literally, Luke, you didn't see what I see. He strangled Cthulhu using Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing we can do against him. We're screwed. That's the mindset we're getting from this comic series.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yes,
True.
Palpatine is ridiculously powerful, and that was something known in Legends as well.
Like,
but
is he though? I mean, is he though?
I mean, on a power scale level, he is.
I mean, but
he's
like
just kind of stupid in some ways.
But like, is he though?
The movie does affect the power scaling of everything that comes after, unfortunately, because like, okay, being picked up and like carried around shouldn't keep you from just destroying Vader, but still, at the same time, his mindset just doesn't work with the movie. The mindset they're putting him in just doesn't work.
All I know is that the potential final end of Palpatine is 2 cross lightsabers. He got hot cross bunned, okay? I mean, is he that powerful? I don't know, whatever. Maybe the Cthulhu's like secretly alive and like, Palpatine slips him, some, I don't know, space money. Is like, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. We really had to freak that. We had to freak that Vader guy out. He was getting uppity, and you know what? We had to knock him down. No problem, Palpatine. I'm gonna go back to wherever I died from.
Cthulhu's like, I need about tree fitter.
Yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, let's wrap the comics up here and let's start into Bad Batch. But yeah, I don't know. I'm beginning to lose my interest in War of the Bounty Hunters, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how it is.
What would you? I know we're not doing ratings, but what would you rate this comic, just out of curiosity, out of 10?
No, we don't do comics out of 10. What are you talking?
Or out of 5? I'm sorry, out of 5.
No, it's fine. I mean,
I'm saying like a 1.5 or a 2. I'm pretty harsh on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Vader, just because of the tone, I don't really care for. Like a 2.2 maybe, and then like
You're so
Aphra.
Nice. You're so much nicer.
Well, I mean, the thing is like the artwork isn't bad for the most part, and like I get the story that they're setting up. I don't really care about the story. I think the story is wrong, but the
story offends me. I am offended.
Yeah, I'm not offended by it. It's just dumb. And then Aphra, I don't know.
Aphra was okay.
3.
I wasn't even asking about that. I was just Vader that I was curious about.
Yeah, I mean they're fine. Whatever. It's okay. It's mild entertainment.
Yeah. Anyway, back on Kamino with Bad Batch.
Yeah, Bad Batch episode 8 again, reunion. We're back on Kamino, picking back up with Crosshair. I almost forgot his name. I was trying to go through tactical names like Strike Fire, Crossfire, Crosshair. I don't know. It'd be funny if it was Crossfire.
You should have just gone with Crossfire the rest of the episode. Straight faced.
That song, the Crossfire song, does get copyright striked when I've seen people use it on streams and stuff.
Really?
And they do. Yeah, they love that. So anyway, the Empire has been notified that the Bad Batch is on our ship planet here. And when we start this up, we have Wrecker teaching Omega how to disarm a bomb. And
do you think Wrecker is smart enough to disarm a bomb?
Yeah, sure, why not? Whatever. Just snip a few wires.
I don't think he is, but okay.
Whatever. I mean, he does have a face that looks like he probably got hit by a bomb at one point.
Yeah, he probably messed up disarming a few.
Yeah, well, he did say
even admits to that.
Well, yeah, he said the first time he did mess it up, so that might have been what happened to his face.
That'd be funny.
But yeah, Wrecker's teaching Omega, putting the pressure on her, and then he's like, you messed up, we got to run. She trips over a pipe. I mean, my God. And it was just a smoke bomb. He's not, I'm not going to use real bombs. Did you poop your pants? It's like, it's one of those things. Did you poop your
killed
pants?
us.
You would have killed us both. You would have killed everyone.
Poop pants.
But you actually mentioned something before we started recording that I think is really noteworthy, how, Wrecker has certainly taken over as basically the more father figure of Omega than Hunter, which is kind of what we were discussing in the very beginning of the series.
I kind of like that, honestly. How do you feel about it?
Well, Wrecker to me in the beginning was kind of like an older brother or something like that, or a crazy uncle. But I feel like they're really putting Hunter in the back seat because I almost feel like they think he's as boring as we think he is.
Well, this episode really sets that into motion, I feel like.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
And, the thing is, I've talked to some people and, like, folks, I know one person I talked to was like, kind of like their favorite was Tech, which I found interesting.
I can't say Tech's my favorite, but I could see why he's a breath of fresh air compared to the rest.
I mean, I think he's interesting, but like when I think about Tech, I think about, the relationship with Omega, and I don't feel like he really has much of a relationship. This was actually the first time that I can really remember them even interacting in more than just a clipped stage.
And Echo's kind of like close behind with that. I mean, he's not much better.
Well, Echo's kind of a reg. He's not. Yeah. He's in the Bad Batch, obviously, but he's kind of a throwback. He's different, even more different than these guys are.
I mean, you could literally replace him with Rex, and it would make no difference. Actually, it'd probably be an improvement. I hate to say it.
I don't know. I mean,
he has the slicing skills, yes, but as far as like personality-wise, he's not.
I'm fine.
Echo was much more. I liked Echo in Clone Wars more personally.
Yeah, sure.
Pre-Bad Batch.
Well, but it does. It just seems like we have a lot more emphasis on Wrecker, and obviously Omega. But the relationship side of things is kind of very one-sided at this point. But it would appear to me that the bounty hunters are being charted by the Kaminoans. That's what I'm guessing.
I would agree
at this point.
Yeah.
Because they seem to have some plans and they want Omega. Even when they were talking with the Imperial commander there, he's like, well, bring him back alive. He's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, Kamino. I don't care what they... And then, they're kind of setting their own plans, it seems like, to get Omega back. But that seems to be the only one they care about.
Contingency plans.
Right. And what those are, we'll see. And here's another thing. You know how we talked last week about the scavengers doing like a really bad scavenging job? Oh, look, there's just an entire bay of weapons.
Yeah.
They didn't take those? There's a bunch of torpedoes.
They must have just started.
Yeah, sure. It just doesn't make much sense, but, then they have this plan. It's like, oh, we're going to pay off Sid with weapons now so we can get out of the thumb, get out from under the thumb. Okay. And then we get a kind of another confrontation with Crosshair kind of coming in here with his troop. It's sort of like a battalion, honestly. Battalion of soldiers.
Yeah, way more than we saw last time.
I don't think he's underestimating them anymore, which I guess is smart. However, Bad Batch proves more...
bad.
Well, we have one showdown, and then they're like using the cannons from the ship to blast the troopers, which doesn't kill everybody. Okay. There is some pretty wild stuff here with the ion chamber, the drive chamber here.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
So they go for their escape through the ion drive. Oh, and by the way, Omega uses her bow a couple of times to take out some troopers.
I would say she kills some people with it. It's pretty awesome. Children murdering people. It's awesome.
Don't talk about that. Well, there was one other thing that I was going to say too. So there were the Marauders, and they did stop them, but one of them totally fell off the side. But then they show all three of them kind of knocked out, like tied up. It's like no, Davey
someone
boy.
went and picked him up and then brought him back, and he's just knocked out.
Listen, Dave, that guy had a movie death. He is dead. Mm-hmm. And probably all 3 of them are dead. But hey, at least one of those guys is definitely dead. But yeah, Omega gets a couple shots off. So, and that was something we commented on, I think, in the last episode about, is she actually going to use that darn bow? She does. So not bad. Not bad.
I'm be interested to see if there's any talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see she's not a liability, because that's usually what kids are used for in these kind of things. They're like a foil. You have to save the kid, but no, the kid actually can do some stuff. She's getting some experience.
Well, I mean, you say that, but at the end of the episode,
that's different though. That's a little bit of a different thing, and I'll talk about that too. We'll talk about it, but like just here in the heat of the battle, she's able to do something more than cower in a corner
to some extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing because before we got to this point in the episode, I was kind of forming this theory of how Crosshair would die, because I still think Crosshair is going to die, and I was kind of thinking it's like, well, you know, it would kind of make sense if he's like able to deal with his programming, or someone else does somehow, or he breaks free of it, and he saves the Bad Batch from his own squadron that's with him, and he just dies from that. It's like, oh no, that's not happening now.
I have a theory about that, but I need to get a little farther in the episode to expound. There is one thing though that I wanted to talk about. We have this flamethrower trooper that apparently has a very short range flamethrower. Like just long enough to not touch the Bad Batch, and then he gets whacked by a torpedo that doesn't go off.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
It seemed really dumb to me for some reason.
That was like one of those things, like all the guys were in a corner trying to write the episode, and one of them like brought beer, and they kind of got a little bit tipsy, and they're like, hey, you know, it'd be awesome. Bring in a flamethrower guy and just like blow him up and stuff.
It just... Oh, and by the way, Wrecker does throw a few people to Disney deaths as well, so... A lot of Disney-related deaths. But yeah, that flamethrower thing just was kind of weird, because it was like, oh, here's a flamethrower that just doesn't quite reach you. Well, that's lame.
Which is kind of a movie trope.
Yeah, I guess. So I've complained a little bit about the brushwork artwork in this, but when they get to the chamber here, the drive chamber, that's sick. It actually looks huge.
Yeah, it was made for that.
It looks almost scary. Like it's the first thing that oh wow, that's daunting.
Yeah.
That's a daunting look.
Right.
So part of the plan here, Crosshair basically has the chamber engaged to start the engine, which
I kind of called halfway through the episode.
Dude, where's the power coming from?
We got enough power for the engine and the med bay. That's it.
Well, they got lights up in the weapons area too. So, but yeah, I don't really understand that. So they engage the engine here to, I guess, flush them out or just potentially kill them. I guess his plan's more to kill them. But then the Bad Batch have this interesting plan to kind of bisect the chamber with explosives, which, listen, man, I know that it was like an idea. If it can handle
the power of an ion engine, why would the explosive do anything?
Yeah, it was an interesting idea, but it feels crazy unrealistic. However, that being said, the Bad Batch has now given up their weaponry that they were going to trade to Sid. So in order to do this bifurcation, and really interestingly, Crosshair actually gets caught up in this drive plasma or whatever you want to call it, and kind of is burned. And my theory is that this is going to alter his chip. I think he got fried. I feel like he got fried here, and he is going to start being affected, and like he'll get back to the Empire and be like, he'll start changing his mind because his chip.
You think it'll be subtle though? I think that would be better if it was.
Yeah,
subtle.
I mean, I think it'll
so much better.
It'll do very slow, like a very slow build, like kind of like Wrecker, but to a more positive ending.
Reverse Wrecker.
But he's literally being burned, and this isn't just like fire. This is like radiation. This is ionic energy. So it looks like the rest of his troop is dead. And obviously, in order to not be gruesome, you're not really showing the potential. He would be burnt. He'd be like
he'd be worse
he would
than
be
Palpatine.
Anakin. He'd be Anakin Crispin,
Way worse
right?
than Palpatine. Yeah.
But even with that being said, okay, we're not going to go gruesome, but I still feel like this is going to be the turning point for Crosshair, and that chip is going to be screwed up.
But why did he put himself in a position to be it? Why did any of them, other than just for character building or story progression, like why would you do that?
I don't know. I don't understand it. But yeah, there you go. Now we did have one surprise here. Brought back an old character from Clone Wars. We've got Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Who,
that was kind of nice.
Yeah, a lot of people really like Cad Bane. I personally could take him or leave him. No offense, but I
think with the context with like young Boba and everything, I liked him more in that. I don't see him being very important in this.
I just never had a connection to him, but the voice acting is phenomenal. I love Cad Bane's voice. Which I actually did look up that actor's name earlier, and now let me actually give credit where credit is due.
Could you imagine if they weren't able to get that voice back and they still went with it?
Corey Burton. Corey Burton is the voice actor's name. So, yeah, I just, let's see, what all did he do? Oh, he did Count Dooku and Cad Bane. There you go.
Really?
He's done, what else has he done? Okay. Voice of Captain Hook, but in what? Professor Ludwig von Drake, one of the Ducks. He's been in the Transformers. He was Zeus in God of War, in the God of War series.
Really?
I'll be darned. Hugo Strange in Arkham City. Interesting. Yeah, there you go. That's cool. So he's done some stuff there.
So did you think that Hunter had a chance against Cad? Going into this little duel?
Well, I mean, if this were normal Clone Wars rules, yes. But in this showdown, because I think they're trying to make him a little bit more OP, no. I think he was dead to rights as soon as he stepped off the shuttle, personally.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have kind of that Dave Filoni Wild West showdown that he loves, and obviously we saw that in Mandalorian and so forth. And yeah, Cad Bane shoots him right in the chest protector, and Hunter's shot goes awry and hits his droid, shoots his droid's leg off.
So I do have a bit of theory with this, though. I don't think Cad ever intended on killing Hunter, because we have a talk with the Kaminoans, and it was pretty clear how much they want the entire Bad Batch, and I also think that they're the ones that hired him, so I think that's probably the only reason Hunter survived this encounter.
Maybe. Now, the other thing, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it felt like in this episode, the value of the Bad Batch as a whole felt diminished to me. Like, it seemed like they only want Omega. But you're right, because we mentioned this in earlier episodes, it sounded like they wanted the entire Bad Batch back. Or at least one of them or whatever. But I don't know. I think that seems to be a little bit shaky for me right now. But I'm with you there. So
I just think this is the only reason that they would be able to get them to go back to Kamino. Like, they would never agree to. So the only reason they could do it is
so you think it's like a lure to get them back? Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's an interesting theory. I kind of like that. I'll be interesting to see. I'll be interested, not interesting. I'm not that interesting. I'll be interested to see if Bane has a larger part here, or if it's just literally currying Omega to Kamino potentially. I mean, heck, he could be taking her to flipping.
He could be working for the Empire, but he's not a fan.
Or like Jabba the Hutt or something. I don't know. Who knows?
No more Jabba talk.
Yeah, but you are right. Bane could have just waxed Hunter. Like, he could have He could have put another shot in there. But I don't really even think that that's Cad Bane's style, really. Like, he's a bounty hunter. He's not really a killer. I mean, kind of is, but not really. So, I don't know. I think
Coruscant guards, he likes killing them.
Yeah, well, sure. No one cares about stormtroopers. But anyway, that we kind of end here with Crosshair being bandaged up. He's got a breathing mask, and so they're
in a firefight.
Well, he's got a splint and everything. Yeah, I mean Crosshair isn't, but yes, on the platform as we're picking up Hunter. Yeah. And Wrecker retrieves the energy bow. We can't forget that.
Yeah. Even though it's been technically destroyed, we gotta get it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fine. It's still there. But the Bad Batch is able to escape again. Hunter is alive, which is, again, it does lead a bit more to your theory because armor. We've talked about armor a lot. Like in some forms, depending on who's writing it, the story, sometimes it's worth a lot. Sometimes it's worth absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, is Hunter's armor so much better, or did Cad Bane shoot strategically so he wouldn't kill him? So, yeah, That's actually a really good theory. I'll be interested to see what next week brings.
And honestly, something that Star Wars never really expands upon, but, I mean, we have a stun mode. Do we have a low power mode?
I would assume
just something
so.
to knock you off your butt, or onto your butt,
Yeah, there you go. No, that's good thinking. I like that. I like that theory quite a bit. But that would also, kind of Boba-fy Cad Bane. Like now he's kind of a good guy like Boba is in Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a good guy thing if he's being paid to do it, though.
No, I'm with you. So, yeah, there we go. That's Bad Batch. Another episode down. And the only other final thought I would have, this felt extremely short. Like, every episode is about the same overall runtime. This one felt really short to me.
Yeah, I mean, like the jump between the disarming of the plasma grenade to everything else, it was very, very brief.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even our ion chamber scene was, like, very quick.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, any other thoughts or things that we need to comment on? Bad Batch or even the comics or anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good too. That was, it was a pretty satisfying episode of Bad Batch. I know people are going to go nuts over Cad Bane and so forth, but I think it was a good episode. Good overall episode. I think it sort of sets us up nicely. But I will also say this, it's feeling very Mandalorian.
It's starting to get there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, next we're going to see Luke showing up and killing everybody wrong time frame.
No, we're only halfway in. No.
Yeah.
That's
wrong
second
time
season stuff.
It's like wrong time frame anyway.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. So, well, anyway, folks, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. As always, let us know what you're thinking about Bad Batch or, any other comic-related stuff, book stuff. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter at TC Plan Podcast, or, just send us a good old email. I'd love to see your transmission come through the old inbox, and that email is tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. But yeah, I think that's about it for this week. So you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force